What do you think about between the two communities, Muslim and Jews? Which one concerns you more?
Jews, for sure.
Tell me why.
CNN didn't do this. MSNBC didn't do this. But PBD, he sat across from Nick Fuentes and let him say what every politician is too scared to even whisper. Jews concern me more than Muslims. And the wild part, Patrick Bet David didn't silence him. He challenged him. That's why this conversation matters. Because, for once, the system didn't censor the tension. It aired it. Welcome to the Matrix. Let's plug in.
Why?
More powerful. They're more powerful.
So more powerful in a way, you're talking the fact that they have money, finance, Hollywood. Is that what you're
Yeah, they have more position in American society.
And how do you think they got that?
I think they got it because they are extremely connected. They're a transnational entity. You know, this is how the Rothschilds got started. Their superpower is that they live everywhere, and they have their Jewish identity supersedes their local identity. So a Jewish person in America or in Germany or in France or in the UK, they can all talk to each other and work together.
Do you think that's a bad thing?
Not in and of itself. It is detrimental for America, though.
Is it detrimental, though? Because, I'm a Syrian, right? Mm-hmm. And I wish Assyrians were more like this. Mm-hmm. And let me tell you why I relate to them. We don't have a country. Assyrians used to have a country. We used to be the first warriors. We were written about in the Bible. You read it all over the place. You know, the history we had, the things we invented. And then we became a little cocky. And God came in and was like, listen, man, relax, Assyrians. You ain't going to come and be the king of the jungle. It's me. And you hear the stories about that they built the tower to go all the way to the top because we are Assyrians,
on the Assyrians.
And then we failed. It's like, no, look at you now. No one knows who Assyrians are. You don't even have a country, right? We know the land in Iraq or wherever you are. You don't have it anymore. I think when a community becomes too cocky, the man upstairs is going to handle that himself, right? But in a sense, when you see they went from a small community to have this much influence, isn't that almost impossible for them to pull off? Like, isn't that? So it either produces one of two things. I'm not intimidated. I'm not a guy that is envious or jealous or, oh my God, that guy's richer than me. That guy's this guy's, I'm not. I want to see what they did and what worked for them. For example, to me, when I think about Jews, I think about Mormons, I think about
he wants the playbook.
Scientologists. I used to have an office where half the office was all Scientology, and I learned all these phrases, assist, or, I went to their church and so Dianetics and L. Ron Hubbard and what he would say when you get a headache, you do this, and all these weird extras. I'm like, oh, interesting. How much money did we give? $200,000. Why'd you give that? But let me tell you, those guys that were in, they had each other's back. It was a fraternity that you wish family members were like this, right? I think Scientologists have it maybe more than Jews. So I think Jews will bite each other a little bit, not as much. And then Mormons have each other's back. Of course, there's a fallout out as well where people come out and they'll talk about God makers or, what Gordon B. Hinckley, and I've read all of that stuff from over the years. But what's wrong with them winning at the highest level?
Well, I agree with you that it is remarkable, and it is actually ominous how much they've achieved. Here's the problem, though. America's an open society. The premise of this country is it's self-government, of, by, for the people. There's a egalitarian idea that we are all citizens, and our government is going to be comprised of the citizenry of America.
Yeah, the lobbyists
control
embedded in
who
Washington.
We are, in our government and our whole system. And take me, for example. I'm Italian, Mexican, and Irish. The Italians were very much like this when they immigrated to America. They had in Chicago what they called the outfit, which was the mafia. And they looked out for each other.
Al Capone,
and when
baby.
my grandfather died on my mom's side, I believe my grandmother got a loan from the outfit.
Oh,
and
shit. What was the
VIG?
VIG?
Every month or whatever, and they'd bring a fruit basket, and they'd look after her, and they provided financially.
Was it Spilatra's group? Do you know the history of it, or was it Tony Spilatra?
I don't know who it was specifically.
Okay, got it.
Trench coats and fedoras.
So, these are some of the stories I would hear growing up from my mom and my grandmother.
So think about, at that time, how many people were against Italians? At that time, how many people didn't like Italians in New York? Because do you know Bank of America was first called Bank of Italy? Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
So can you pull up,
Alitalia
ask, was
Banco.
Bank of America first Bank of Italy? If I'm wrong, it is what it is. I think Bank of America was originally Bank of Italy, and everybody used to, yes, the Bank of America was originally founded in Bank of Italy in 1904 to an Italian-American in San Francisco, and financial needs of Italian immigrants and other underserved people. The bank eventually merged with another institution to form Bank of America and changed its name to Bank of America, right? The tellers were Italians.
All the
They would give
Shylocks
small
were
little
Italian,
loans, $10,
huh?
$4, $5 to them. And some people were not supportive of that. They're like, what are Italian immigrants doing here? You guys are becoming too much power in New York. We're not happy about this. So there was some of that going on 100 years ago.
And that's what I'm saying is that did exist. And then what happened eventually is that Italians assimilated. Eventually, these groups, these ethnic advocacy groups were broken up, if you could call the outfit that, or the mob of New York. And then Italians assimilated. And when I grew up, I saw myself as American. I didn't see myself as Italian American. I just saw myself as American. And I think that, you know, when you see Jewish people working together, I don't think there's anything wrong with that inherently. And I agree with you. It's like a superpower. It's actually admirable in some ways. They look out for each other. But if society becomes, American society in particular, a place where every group is ganging up, well, we're the whites, we're the blacks, we're the Jews, we're the then I think what America is starts to come apart, and it turns into kind of like a bit of a politicized race war. And I think that you either have to have a society where everybody gets to play by those rules and everybody could be pro what they are, or everybody is assimilated and we're all Americans. And that's why I say it's detrimental, is that if Jewish people are Jewish first, not of, by, and for America, but of, by, and for the Jewish nation, this is problematic when they're in positions of power, because are they looking out for all of us, or are they looking out for themselves first? And when you look at the Israel policy, that's where people start to say, I think you're looking out for yourselves first. I think you're biased. And unfortunately, you're using the public purse and American soldiers to fight your own battles. And that's the problem. It's not, I don't have hatred for them. I don't have a problem with them in themselves or even what they do. It's just that with our system, that doesn't work.
You know what?
Here's the deeper conflict. Nick Fuentes isn't just talking about faith. He's talking about allegiance. He warns that when loyalty to Israel overtakes loyalty to America, democracy becomes an illusion. He's saying if power moves without borders, then who does the government really serve? Meanwhile, PBD fires back, not by defending Israel, but by exposing our own weakness. He says, don't blame the player, blame the politicians who sold the deal. That's the real red pill moment, because every foreign influence, every lobby, every donation, every backroom deal, it's not just Israel, it's the system itself. Fuentes is calling out global power. PBD is calling out American cowardice. Both are right, and both are trapped in the same matrix.
What I would say to that as well, when, you know, if they use the American soldiers in their advantage and all that other stuff. Okay. Who negotiated that deal? Some president negotiated that deal. Someone said yes to it, right? When they say, well, let me tell you, you know, that person is afraid to platform this guy because he's afraid his donors are going to go and do this. And it's Israel's fault. No, it's not. It's the guy who runs it's not Israel's fault. What are you talking about? You know, this guy sends me a message, APAC. I got a text, not a text, what do you call it in the X? A DM I get from APAC, okay? Hey, we'd like you to come to Israel. We'd like to invite you. I'm sure many people get that message, right? They send it. I said, I'm going to come with my pastor. I don't want you to pay for it. I'm going to pay for it. I want to bring my crew because I want to go see Jerusalem. You're not going to see me putting the what do they call it? The
kippah.
I'm not going to put that on. But guess what? I respect the culture, and I want to go to Gaza, and I would ask for some idea of protection that if we can go to Gaza, show it to her. I want to see this stuff. I want to go with my pastor. First time around, I'm not going to take my kids. Maybe the second, third time, I'll take my kids. But to me, I don't put the onus on, like when a guy's like, that guy has slept with so many people, this, and the girl said yes. No, but you don't understand. He's a man whore. But the girl said yes. So is it Israel or is it the girl? Do you understand what point I'm trying to make here?
Absolutely.
So to me, it's kind of like, I mean, look, if you said Israel over Muslims, right? Mm-hmm. Which of the two do you think has been a bigger net positive to America?
Oh, well, it has to be Israel, absolutely.
Okay, so a part about that part.
But, well, In terms of, I wouldn't say net positive. I would say in terms of raw, maybe like gross positive. Because they've had a lot of contributions culturally and even, in terms of art, literature, music, also scientifically. But it's difficult to say on net because I also think that there's quite a bit of a detriment. I think that the melting pot comes from the Jewish community.
What do you mean by that?
The idea of the melting pot, that comes from a Jewish playwright. Because Jewish people come to America, and like all immigrants, they say, well, we want America to be more welcoming. So they start to spin up these ideas that, well, America was never this country of white Christians. It's always been a melting pot for all immigrants. They want the country to be more open because that makes it more comfortable for them. It makes it more tolerant for them. But this has also made us more open and tolerant for Muslims, for example. We're bringing, who's been the biggest driver of like the Hart-Celler 65 Immigration Act? It was like the SPLC, which is run by Jewish lawyers. And so they're major drivers of mass migration. They're also major drivers of the pro-Israel politics, like the Iraq War. It was many Jewish journalists and pundits and advocates.
Sure.
So a point being is like when you calculate on net,
they have a lot of influence.
and I agree with you. Like I think there are a lot of people that are critical of Israel that are reluctant to acknowledge the good that Jews do, and I think that Jews they're brilliant. Many of them are brilliant.
So when I'm saying net positive, I'm talking jobs, economy. How often you hear about crime, what they do. Like if you have a choice between living in a city in Minnesota, Dearborn, and living in, I don't know what's the biggest city. What's the city that, Boca Raton, let's just say, right? If you have a choice between raising your family.
I'm going to the Sunshine State.
Raton, where do you choose?
Boca Raton,
Okay,
of course,
so the point is like, they go to a place. And by the way, to me, if that was Muslims, guess what? I would say Muslims. But statistically, wherever they live, it's safer, things are nicer, things get better.
I agree.
And that is one part to measure where they're at. Now,
great doctors, great lawyers.
Them overly aggressive? Do I see them the type that are going to use politicians and buy them like Marjorie Taylor Greene and other people are saying? 100%. Do I see them, they're going to be there in everyone's DM and email saying, hey, we'd love to support you. We'd love to bring you to Israel and, doing all that stuff? It's obvious. I'm seeing it myself, okay? Do I look at that and shame them and say, oh, you shame on? I look at that and say, no, I wish Armenians would do that. I've never gotten an invitation from Prime Minister of Armenia. He should probably send me an invite to go there, right? It's not a bad idea to come and show the country. I'm Armenian. I'm a Syrian. Syrians don't have a country. It's probably a good idea. You don't see that. You wish others would do that. So for me, as much as when I go into that, by the way, I'll give you one other side that, Israel's going to be like, yeah.
All right, guys, let's talk truth here. This conversation was never about Israel or Muslims. It was about what happens when America forgets who it is. The Matrix doesn't fear Jews. It doesn't fear Muslims. It fears independent minds, people who can't be programmed by collective guilt or tribal fear. And that's what happened here. Two men looked at the same system and saw the same glitch from opposite sides. Nick Fuentes says the power is too concentrated. PBD says the power is just being used smarter. And somewhere between those truths, you see the Matrix fracture. Because the real enemy is obedience. This isn't about sides, it's about systems. The question is, do you want to stay plugged into the illusion, or do you want to see who's pulling the strings? If you're seeing the glitches, hit that sub button, drop a comment below, and join the resistance. Because on Anomaly Report, we don't play the algorithm, we expose it.